topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Houston. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We've had another great show for you this afternoon. We're going to be talking about tax relief. And before I introduce you to our expert, we have been together doing a show for about 10 years. And I got to tell you, when it comes to tax relief, the things that I've read on the internet, you have got to be able to trust the company that you're working with on something as important as tax relief. And our next guest is the creme de la creme. He is one of the finest enrolled agents when it comes to tax relief that I've ever known. And I'm so lucky that we have Barry as part of our experts, because I know for a fact that he's going to lead you in the right direction. But most important, from all the stuff that I read on the internet, that he is going to be there. Now, he might not return a call within the hour, but customer service is so important that he will get back with you as soon as he can. It won't be weeks like I've read on the internet. And the information he gives you, you will be able to swear by. And I'm just so glad, and I'm spending a little bit more time introducing you to Barry, because I'm just so proud that we have Taxation Solutions as our experts. Good afternoon, Barry.
Hey, Steve. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Well, you're the best. I mean, first of all, I know how much you care about your clients. I mean, you really do care about. You own the company. And a lot of these companies you work with, you're just a number two. Not with Barry, not with Taxation Solutions. Barry, tell people about your company and about your background.
Well, Taxation Solutions is a specialized company in tax relief and getting people the best deal with the IRS possible. But we got to do it with honesty and integrity for our clients, and in their representation, and communicating to them what they can do or can't do, within the IRS in their tax problem based on their situation. And we've been doing this a very long time. I tell people that, hey, I've been working in taxes since I've been knee high to a grasshopper, and that's a long time ago, you can tell. But the expertise at Taxation Solutions runs deep, and we take the best that we can get enrolled agents and teach them to be even better than what they have been or what they are. Many of them move on and go to work for themselves, and we're proud of the fact that we can train people so well to be able to do that. And teaching customer service, which is really, as you said, is unusual in this industry. We like to be able to communicate with our clients and keep them informed of exactly what's happening and where we're at in their case. Sometimes it's, once a month, sometimes it's every week, depending on what's happening in their case and the speed the case is moving along. We try to get everything done as fast as possible, but as you and I have discussed, we're working with the IRS. The only thing they have a hurry for is to get money. But when it comes to working with us to get a settlement, there are times they want to drag their feet, which means the case has got to be out there pending for offering compromise or partial pay installment agreement, or even getting penalties removed. So everything is different when you're working with government. They work at their own speed. And of course, if you're not answering them and you're not responding to their IRS letters, they work at the speed of taking the money right out of your account. Even the worst day of the month when you just got paid and you got to make your mortgage or your rent payment and it's not there. Well, they got your attention, and that's what it's there for. But every case is different. And, I like to say is communication is the key to our success. And obviously that has been over the years and for as long as we've been doing this.
Barry, how do businesses get into so much trouble with the IRS?
Well, most of the time it's the small businesses that are the ones that you see that are asking that question. And those companies are either, multi-member LLCs or even Schedule Cs or S Corps, and they're running payroll, because that's really the biggest thing that they get in trouble for. And what generally happens, and you see it now, we're in times of inflation just rampant, and it puts pressure on your bottom line and maybe the cash flow as well. So the first thing they want to neglect is payroll taxes. You got to pay your employees, and then becomes you got to pay the payroll taxes. Well, payroll is not going to quit. The U.S. government isn't going to quit if you don't pay them, but your employees are going to quit if you don't pay them. So you pay the employees, but you just don't pay the payroll taxes, and you hold that fund for the next payroll. And then that becomes that wonderful snowball effect that we have always talked about. You start that ball rolling downhill where you skip payroll taxes 1 week, and all of a sudden now you got to skip them multiple weeks. And then all of a sudden that debt is huge. You've missed a whole quarter, and the IRS doesn't send you any nasty letters right away. And in the next month or two down the road, after you file the 941, the quarterly report, now all of a sudden you get a letter, but you still don't get a phone call, and you still don't get somebody collecting. So you keep neglecting, and it keeps rolling downhill and getting bigger and bigger. Now you got major problems. We've seen that happen across the board in very many small businesses out there. A lot of them from back in COVID are still dealing with payroll tax issues they've had back in 2020 because they didn't have the money to keep paying these employees, and they were trying to keep them working, or at least keep them on payroll through, payroll protection programs and other stuff, but they just didn't have the cash to pay the payroll taxes. So, it just became a huge mess for many, many small businesses.
How do you ever get caught up with them?
It's really hard because, they want to see payment plans that are a lot quicker than most businesses can afford. We're dealing with a few small businesses now that have roughly $100,000 or more in payroll taxes to do. And, the IRS wants their money. The IRS is wanting these payroll taxes paid, a lot quicker than most of these businesses can afford to do. One of them we're dealing with right now had a payment plan, and was working through it and making the payments, but had to default because they had to keep making the employee payments now for payroll and trying to stay up to date on current payroll taxes. But the pressure of wholesale prices for what they do were going up, and their margins were coming down, and there wasn't as much profit. So, they're having to reset it. So we're working with them right now to reset their whole payment plan with the IRS so that they can do something affordable. The revenue officer we're dealing with is nearly impossible. She doesn't want to answer her phone. She doesn't want to call us back. And we've had to go to managers, and we had to even go to the territory manager to get a response. And, we thought we were doing good, and we're back into the same situation again, her not answering her phone. So, we'll be on top of that. We'll get back to the territory manager or her manager here this week and get those problems resolved. That's what we're here to do, and keep them in business. I mean, that's where the family-owned businesses making money to support themselves, but they have all this pressure being squeezed from the IRS, their vendors and everything else, and we've just got to make it work.
Barry, if a business goes under, and I don't know how it is in Texas, but here in Florida, there's a lot of businesses going under. If you owe the IRS and you go out of business, do you still owe them that money?
Well, depending on how your business is set up, it's yes and no. If you are running a corporation and that corporation goes defunct, the payroll taxes can go away in that situation. However, if the IRS has issued trust fund penalties against you, which are civil penalties, and they go against you personally for the portion of the payroll taxes that you withheld from the employee's check, that's where the civil penalties come into, and the trust fund penalties come from. And if you haven't paid those back, or they've assessed those penalties, then you are personally liable for it. Now, any assets that the company owned, whether they own vehicles, a building, inventory, all that stuff, that the IRS generally has a lien on. If you sell it or get rid of it, it should be theirs, and that money should go to them. If you take it, then again, they're going to come after you for the dissipated asset. So you got to be careful how you dissolve that company as well.
We had another letter wanting to know if there's a statute of limitations on IRS liens.
Well, there's a statute of limitations on IRS personal taxes out there, and IRS civil penalties and stuff. So you're going to see that statute of limitations run out after about 10 years after you've actually filed your return. So not 10 years from when the taxes may have been due. So the good example is if right now you were actually filing 2020's tax return, statute of limitations would run out basically in 2020 or in 2034, 10 years from when you file it. So not back from when it was due back in 21. If you filed your return back in 21, then of course the statute of limitations would run out in 2031. There are a lot of extenuating circumstances to that, because there are certain things you can do that will actually pause the statute of limitations and extend them a little bit further for you, or for the government. You would rather see them keep running, but if you file an offer in compromise and a few other filings that you could do, that would actually pause them while the IRS is processing, the CDP hearing or the offer in compromise, or some of the other hearings you may have. And in that case, the statutes might last a little bit longer for you.
It seems like we have a lot of seniors that listen to your show, Barry, because we got 3 or 4 letters, mainly from people on a fixed income, and they don't have the money to pay their taxes. Can you do anything for them?
Absolutely. But first, we're going to sit down and do that analysis when they call our hotline that we have here, 888-931-1079. We will talk with them on a free consultation. They don't have to worry about paying us anything, in this conversation, because we're going to get a feel for exactly what you have. We're going to run into a couple of different situations where, being on a fixed income, we can either get you an offer in compromise. We may decide that it's better to put you into a non-collectible status because things aren't going to change and it's more cost effective for you. We're also going to look at what other assets you have, because you may be on a fixed income from Social Security, or maybe teacher retirement pension or a railroad pension. But you also may have IRAs, or you may have a lot of equity in your house. So we've got to look at all of those situations for you to decide, hey, what is the best route for you? And if your income is very limited, like I said, we might want to go into that non-collectible status. If there's a lot of equity in a house, it's the same thing. We might want to go into a non-collectible status versus trying to do a settlement, because the IRS is going to want that equity that's in the house. But everybody's situation is different, and we can't pinhole you right into, hey, what can we do, until we know exactly what your situation is going to be and what is the best situation for you, or the best way to settle that tax debt or get rid of maybe some penalties and everything for you.
We just got a text from Randy in Bel Air. Wants to know, can you file bankruptcy on past taxes that are due?
Yes, depending on when the tax returns were filed. So we can take a look at that. And if you're going to go through bankruptcy, sometimes it is better to go through bankruptcy if you have a lot of personal debt or other unsecured debts that are out there. The lawyer will generally tell you that. We're going to look at it more from the tax standpoint for you and tell you, hey, there's better ways of getting rid of this tax debt, either through offer and compromise or maybe through non-collectible status, depending on the statute of limitations. So we will actually run a complete tax analysis on you to decide, hey, what is the best route for you to go for your tax debt? In the same time, we'll have that communication. If you're way behind on all your other debts, we will get you in touch with a bankruptcy attorney as well, and we can have that complete conversation to decide what is the best route for you. But if you're not looking at any other debts out there, unsecured debts or debts that you're not behind on, then we would definitely tell you, hey, offering compromise or partial pay installment agreement or non-collectible status might be the best route for you as well. So we'll take a look at all that when we're doing the tax analysis with you.
Here's from Roseanne in Pearland. Wants to know, if she owes back taxes, can they go after her husband also?
Well, it depends. So Texas is kind of community property state, and so we've got to deal with the community property laws. What's yours is his, what's his is yours. But when you're filing taxes, if you have filed married filing separate, or if it was a single tax return before you got married, no, they cannot come after him for collection of your debt. Now, the one thing that most people don't understand, you're now married, which means household expenses are split based on income levels. So if he is making more money or you're making more money than him, we've got to show both incomes out there. So we would have to take both your W-2s if you have them, or paychecks, and show what the income is so we can split expenses. And then some expenses are directly yours and some are directly his. A lot of complications go into that when you've got a debt that is yours because you filed single and married filing separate. So we can walk you through it and talk about it. It's one of those things that you should really pick up that phone and give us a call here on our hotline at 888-931-1079. Let us talk about it and figure out the best solution and the best way to get through this.
Barry, we've been doing this show for 10 years now, and I thought I'd asked you just about everything possible, but I have a question that I don't think I've ever asked before. And one is, which tax law do you think is the most unfair law there is?
Oh, geez.
There's more than one.
There are a lot of unfair tax laws out there across the board. I would say this, that every single state that has a state income tax is unfair. So get out of those states. But when you come to Texas, don't vote that way. You voted back there. Vote the Texas way. Let's be conservative and keep taxes out of income taxes out of the state of Texas. So there are a lot of unfair laws. I mean, in Congress, they write the laws that benefit those that have the money to influence the laws, let's say. So it's really hard to say which one's going to be the worst ones out there. There are a lot of fun things we do in taxes, and there are a lot of really bad things we do in the tax world here that we just shake our head and go, there must have been some lawyer that wrote this thing. And it's all lawyers out there, because if it was enrolled agents writing this tax code, we would make it a lot simpler than what it is today. When they simplified this and said, hey, we're going to get it down to a postcard, it became what 4 different postcards. It wasn't just a postcard tax return anymore. And then they had schedules behind it, which used to be right there on the tax return. And now it's Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3. So we could talk about tax code all day long and how to fix it. But first thing they'd have to do is make me king. And then I could fix everything.
Barry, tell people, and you do this so well, why they should have Taxation Solutions representing them.
Steve, well, the first thing I'm going to say is, even if it's not us, it should be somebody that's very well qualified and can represent you within the IRS and stuff. So, but Taxation Solutions tax relief in particular, we're going to give you the customer service that you're not going to find very many other places out there. The second thing is we've been doing this. I've been doing this for 40 plus years now, and we work very well. We even train some of the best people out there. We even work to train these new IRS agents that are out there. But we really take an interest in you as the client. We want to make sure that we're going to be able to get you the best deal. If we sit down with you and have this conversation on our hotline, again, it's an absolutely free call. It's an absolutely free conversation we're going to have. And we're going to sit down and tell you, hey, based on your situation, the best thing you're going to get is a full pay installment agreement. Some of that you can do yourself. You got to go out and watch what you're going to do. But we're going to tell you at least a little bit about, hey, this is what can be done or can't be done. We also don't want you to go out and sign up with one of these great big companies out there that'll tell you anything you really want to hear. Because not everybody qualifies for an offer of compromise, no matter what these people want to tell you, no matter what they want to think. We all want to live and have that pipe dream that I can make that dollar investment and make $1 million tomorrow. If somebody could sell you on that every single day, they're going to sell you on the fact that we can get a settlement with the IRS, even though you make plenty of money to make the tax payments, even though you have plenty of equity in your house or cash in the bank. We've heard it all along. Well, XYZ tax relief told me I can get a settlement for a couple of $1,000s. Well, I'm sorry. How much money did you say you had in the bank? You have $150,000 and your tax debt's $125,000. You've got plenty of money to pay this tax. Well, I don't like this. I'm going to go call them and get a deal. They call me back 6 months later and go, I don't know why I didn't listen to you. Can you do our taxes? Yes, we'll help you do so. But again, as far as the settlement goes, you're not going to get it. You make plenty of money. You're making, 6 figures and you have a $30,000 tax debt. You're going to pay these taxes. Just man up and let's get the payment plan going and get you on the straight and narrow before they levy what you have in your account. And then you're screaming. Honesty, sometimes it kills us because, they don't want to come to us and just do a payment plan with us because somebody offered them that pipe dream settlement. God bless you. Good luck to you. If you don't like the honesty, don't call the hotline. If you want us to be honest and tell you like it is and tell you what we can do, can't do based on your situation. Now, granted, we've got the most talented people here. we can do the best deals that are out there. We can get you the best settlements out there if you qualify, and we run the numbers for you. We work it out. We tell you what we can do, can't do based on what you're telling us. And you got to be honest with us. And that's all we ask is in exchange for this free consultation is just be brutally honest. Tell us so we can be brutally honest back of what you can get or what you can expect within the IRS. And I've had people because they don't like
Give everybody the phone number again and your website.
That number, and it's a hotline. You can use this to call us and tell your friends, family, neighbors, anywhere in the country, anybody that has a tax problem, 888-931-1079. Again, 888-931-1079. And it's taxationsolutions.net. If you don't want to talk to us right away, go to the taxationsolutions.net, fill out our contact form, and we'll get back to you, at a time that you need us to be. And you can also check us out on Facebook, Taxation Solutions Tax Relief. We're there too.
Thank you, Barry. Barry will be back with us again this month. He'll be back with us again. Today's March 1st. Barry, thank you so much. Taxation Solutions. And
thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Love you, bro. We'll see you all next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.